And last but not least, for the tactical previews ahead of Euro 2024, that was weird. Nobody ever says 2024. 2024, sorry. That was a weird start to the video, wasn't it? But oh well, we're here, last video, and I'm officially excited because we're about to get into the tournament. We've seen all the friendlies that have just taken place in the lead up to it. I feel like we have a good idea of lineups and tactics going into it, and we've seen the varying differences in forms heading into it, which isn't always relied upon. Friendly games do bring out a different intensity to what a tournament does, but it leaves us with a lot of interesting things to watch out for as the tournament starts. And the last big team to cover, as I was saying, is Netherlands, and I've enjoyed Netherlands. I have to say I've been pleasantly surprised by how they've lined up in these games. There are flaws to them, but I think in previous tournament years they've been very naive and very poor structurally and off the ball. And I don't think they have those same issues this time around. I don't think they've got enough to win the tournament or get to the very late stages. But there's something there I think gives them a good platform to be competitive. But we're going to go over why. And as always, in possession. So when Netherlands line up, they line up in a 3-2-5 that we see throughout Europe. As we always say, the right winger pushes into this area here, and I would guess from the friendly games it looks like it's going to be Xavi Simons, who's had a fantastic season for RB Leipzig and is comfortable playing in the half spaces in the attacking areas on either the left and right side, so he's going to be very useful for the Netherlands. I think he's got a real big tournament ahead of him, allowing the right wing back to attack the right flank, and he will be the main source of width down this side. Jeremy Frimpong and Denzel Dumfries are two fantastic options in that position. I think Koeman goes with Denzel Dumfries just because that's the player that's been relied upon, but I think Jeremy Frimpong could be the man going forward. He's performed brilliantly in the two friendly games, and I think he's more than earned a starting spot. The left winger, which will probably end up being Cody Gakpo, typically comes in a bit more narrower in this area here to partner up with Memphis Depay, who's in his full Space Jam era. I mean, bloke's about to take on the Monstars with that white Gucci headband, and there's a lot of interchange of positions and a lot of fluidity between Gakpo and Depay on that left hand side. So Gakpo can come in here and it can mean Depay can move outside. Very fluid, but he'll typically come in a little bit more narrow and make the best use of minimum width in this position. And either will as well. While they will be wide players that stretch the play of the opposition's backline, they will come inside and play right off the shoulder of the last fullback in these more direct areas, especially if Virgil van Dijk's getting on the ball in these positions, which we know he's got unbelievable long direct passing threat. We don't need to go on about how good Virgil van Dijk is, and he can easily find that pass over this area to the left winger or the right back when they're stretching the play, and he can also find that delicate little ball over into these areas here if they're making that run from out to in. So as much as Netherlands are renowned for their total footballing style, and as much as they do try and replicate it with this tactic, they aren't afraid to go long and they aren't afraid to mix it up. And the attacking midfielder, which I'm going to guess is going to be Tiani Reinders, is going to be playing that left half space. Right centre-back moving out to this position here. Left centre-back in the centre, which is Van Dijk. And the left-back tucking in, which will be either of Ake or Van de Ven. Two fantastic defensive players in that full-back option. And it leaves them very well set up for the rest defence. If the opposition team wins the ball back, you've got three fantastic centre-backs. If it's De Ligt, if it's Van Dijk, Van de Ven or Ake, that is a hard group of three players to get chances against. And if they can pull it off and remain as hard to beat for international side as they are at club level. Van Dijk, I know, gets criticised by the Dutch media a fair bit, who are, by the way, brutal if you've ever seen their highlights or their quotes appear on Twitter. Jesus Christ, people think English media is bad. Dutch media is something else. And all three of those have got technical qualities to play the ball in between the line, adhere to a good possession-based game. The centre midfield is a weaker option for the Netherlands due to the injuries of De Jong and Koeman, who are going to be out of the tournament by the looks of it. They are very short in that position. In Geordie Schouten, they've got a good, strong defensive midfielder that can protect that back three, and it gives more of a platform for the others to move forward and contribute to these greater attacking plays. And they will look to use this box midfield to their advantage, Netherlands, and they will try and play in between the lines and find these angles to circulate possession. Memphis Depay, whoever the striker is, can drop in and become that option, and him dropping in allows the two wide 10s to attack the space in behind, so there's fluidity involved. And as I say, it is just about their close combination and short passing play. So let's just say, for example, if the ball goes out here to the right back, you'll have players coming in short. You'll have whoever the right winger is in this position. Xavi Simons showing for it. You'll have Memphis Depay coming a bit short, the right centre midfielder, and the right centre-back coming in just to try and make sure they've got numerical advantages wherever they are on the football pitch and play it in between the lines. Get the ball to Simons, who can then maybe start looking for Depay's run, can start looking for the attacking midfielder run. And this is where I say they are at their best when it comes to minimum width, is the left winger Cody Gakpo. Once this guy gets space in between the lines, he will make this run from out to in and just peel off of the back of that last fullback to find the ball in these areas, threw the ball over the top. And minimum width is brilliant in those situations because it just means that the attacking player gets the ball in a more dangerous area, or if he can take it under control with the technical quality that Dutch players generally have, he's got a good shot on goal. And they don't really like to drop these two attacking tens deeper into the build-up, as you see a lot of teams do nowadays. You know, they'll try and outnumber the press from these areas and get the player stretching this area of the pitch. Netherlands aren't built to stretch the opposition's shape. They build up narrow, which I've said before I don't like, but it kind of works with this Netherlands team. But what they will do is keep these guys in here. They want this centre area of the pitch to be a threat at all times. So the 2 10s and the striker are paramount to Netherlands attacking play. But what they will do is they will get the right centre-back and the left centre-back moving into these more advanced areas to try and create better angles to play around the opposition's shape. So it turns into a sort of 1-4-5 there to create those options. And again, similar situation when, let's say, Nathan Ake makes the movement with the ball into this area. You get the winger showing for it here, you get the attacking midfielder coming along, you have the striker and the left centre midfielder. So there's always little ways they can play through. Just bish, bash, bosh, passes through, and they're in on goal and producing their attacking threat once more. And while Memphis Depay looks like he's going to be the striker going into the tournament, they also have a direct option off the bench in Wout Weghorst, who may not start but will be an important substitute in the games, with that long direct threat to get the ball, hold it up and lay it off to one of his more attacking teammates, who can then recycle it into those narrow runs from the wide areas from out to in. And they have mastered that out to in run. I know I've said it a few times in this video, but it's so crucial in terms of creating clearer chances in the box for themselves or strikers. So that run from the left winger can get him into space where he can play it across the box to Wout Weghorst, or whoever the striker ends up being, maybe even getting it to the back post. Jeremy Frimpong in this position could be huge, because you see it for Leverkusen where he makes those late back post runs to finish it off. So they've got a good amount of attacking quality to use at their disposal, Netherlands. Whether they can use that fluidity on the big stage, they maybe do lack a bit of an X factor from an obvious point of view. I do think there's a breakout tournament, as I was saying before, for a Xavi Simons. The right area with Frimpong and Dumfries is something to look out for. It's just whether they have the consistent quality in Depay, in Weghorst, in Gakpo, who are good players, but are they enough to go and win you the tournament? And I guess that's what we're going to find out. And when they do want to stretch that opposition back line, again, having Van Dijk as your central centre-back to fire these balls into these areas is huge. And he will be as important in transition, in attack and in defence. You know, he's just the perfect centre-back. We all know how good Van Dijk is, and replicating those long balls for Netherlands that we've seen throughout the years for Liverpool is key to it. Out of possession now. So Netherlands do defend well in their press. It's a mid to high press where they'll go in a 4-4-2, and you'll get the centre midfielder moving into this position here to back up the press. You'll typically see them defend and press in a 4-4-2 diamond shape. They will always try and keep one centre midfielder back to block that space in between defence and midfield, which for me is a fantastic touch out of possession. And where I actually think this Netherlands squad is underrated, I think they are a very good side out of possession. They've got such a fantastic defensive backline, and with the lack of quality in their midfield, their defensive quality is going to shine, I think, just to give them that bit of balance to prevent space from opening up in those areas of the pitch. And they'll press into these areas until they force a mistake or win the ball back and force a turnover, but aren't afraid to drop into a bit more of a mid-block. And in Van Dijk and De Ligt and Van de Ven, they have fantastic aerial centre-backs, so if that ball gets forced long, they have no issue winning these challenges in these areas. Getting one-on-one in a physical aerial duel against a striker or an attacking player is not going to threaten them whatsoever. So let's just say Van Dijk has the ball clear here. Player in the right centre-back position comes up to collect it and recycle the attack. That could be the incentive for the left winger to go and press and force him back, where the attacking midfielder and the striker can come and rejoin the press. And so they'll keep within their shape. Once they force the opponent back, that will be their trigger to jump in and try and win it back or force them long and recycle the possession in Netherlands' favour. And they have fantastic high line defenders as well in Van Dijk and Mickey van de Ven, and Nathan Ake does really well in the high line. So There's just so much defensive quality in out of possession, and Koeman has done well, to be fair, with making sure that 4-4-2 is structured. There doesn't feel like the giveaway. They've always got Shoughton or whoever will be playing as the holding midfielder. It looks like it will be Shoughton with the injuries they have, of making sure that he's not straying too far from that centre-back pairing. And I think at international level, when you have that defensive trio, I said it before with Portugal, with Plenia and his centre-backs, but just having that reliable spine at the back is so crucial to how you're going to play. And don't be surprised if Netherlands end up having a sort of semi-final level tournament at the least. I think there's a lot of qualities. It's just whether the lack of quality in individual players is going to cost them. I think tactically, though, they can compete with a lot of teams. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and roll on tomorrow, Euro 2024, Scotland, Germany. I cannot wait, and I'm sure you can't either. Cheers, lads. In a bit.